04052025. Data log 1, stream 5. Brain rot levels critical. Coherence questionable. Welcome back, degenerates. Today's stream has no structure, no plan, absolutely no respect for your attention span. Just vibes, memes, and whatever falls out of my brain first. Whoa! So, what's the topic of this hour? My cursed rabbit holes of TikTok short dramas, Yeah, I've watched them. No, I don't regret it. But my browser history, data plan, and blood pressure might disagree. From website crashes to unskippable ads, no plot twist came out of anywhere. But I'm going to tell you all about them so you don't have to suffer through them like I did, especially if you've seen any of them. Now hit the sub if you want more and give the video give a video a like. Collecting data to help filtered. The first one that I have it was called The Cursed Bride, and it's an entire AI generated acting version of this chick who, I don't know, her sister pushed her into the fire, and so she got a burn around her eye, and only around her eye. It's in a circle. It's real gross, kind of weird and stuff. And so they were like, ugh, ugly, put this mask on, never take it off, you're a monster. And then
I was gonna ask, so it's just around her eye, like a donut around her eye?
Yeah, well, without the mask it looks real gross, but it's only around her eye. So she wears a mask usually on just one side of her face or across her face.
So like a melted honey bun underneath the mask?
Yeah, but got
oh.
I wonder how that could happen falling into a fire, but I digress.
Did she go in the whole thing of the fire? Or?
I don't know. It was an AI version, and it was a little girl pushing another little girl into the fire, and then it's this cringy AI scream, because the words are also read by an AI, not a person. There's no people involved in this at all. I know it. And so it's a very, very terrible meme-like scream as the child goes into the fire, and then it cuts into a bunch of horror images of her face afterwards. And everybody going, ugh, monster!
This is like some Silent Hill stuff over here or something.
Yeah, I mean, the romance in it is just as cringe as the horror of her eye. This man uses a line where he's like, what are the rumors about you? That I'm cursed. And then he's like, okay, what are the rumors that you hear about me? That you're cursed. And he's like, great, that means we're meant to be. And then she was like, the hell you mean? What? Did you just flip that? And then she's super into it. And I'm like, that's real cringe.
So is this the one you said completely AI?
Completely
everything. AI. There's no real people. It's just the...
It's as bad as my model right now.
Wild. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those are pretty bad.
It was the first one I had seen. And honestly, I think I was watching it, I'm like, this is absolutely terrible. But I kept every so often I would stop and read the comments, and then the comments would make me be like, wait, what happened? So I go back and watch some more, and sure enough, those parts would come up, and I was like, dang, wow, that's crazy. Then I'd be back in the comments trying to find something else I didn't know about that would make me stay longer. And there, in fact, were comments in there that said, I'm in the comments trying to look for a reason to stay here long. There's other people who suffer from the same symptoms as me. So what else happened? Where was I? I was at the part where everybody's like, ugh, and they put this mask on her, and it's really weird because some of the girl don't look the same, and then she'll go from one hairstyle, having long hair in one and having no hair in another one, to being long fluffy hair, and her dress is changing. It's AI. It's so AI, it hurts. There were times where I could get past it, and then it would just throw other things at me that were just so much more AI, and then I screenshot it. Okay, I spoiled it by saying what their romance is. Yes, they get back together. No, she wears the mask forever. Any questions?
What's the mask look like?
It was, you know what the monogram mask looks like?
Yeah, is it just
okay, imagine the colors that they have, the squiggles and stuff that are usually green or purple or yellow. Make the mask white. Make those colors blues and golds, and that's it. It's just something simple.
All AI.
All AI.
Don't worry, guys. Our future's safe.
That's what some of the comments were saying. Some of the comments, like, I love comments. Oh, they were like sitting there like, you know what? This acting is just as bad as the other acting. So I don't know if the AI is really coming for their jobs or they've officially taken it because they both act that bad.
True story. We haven't even gotten to the other ones.
Like the first one I ever watched with this is I don't even know the name of it, but it was about this dang princess and she was like a blonde. Okay, she was a blonde. Before I got into all the Mandarin ones, all the C-drama versions, was about this chick who is a princess apparently, and she's like, there's something suspicious. I'm going undercover. Well, someone mistook her, I guess, as a maid, and she was like, I accept. And so that's how she went undercover. And then, like, she found out her fiance that she was engaged with was, like, cheating on her with this other person who was being, like, abusive and all these fun things. They were laundering money. You name it. Okay, everybody was in on the scandal. And no one recognized this princess. But what I can recognize is that while I watched her, I read the comments and I shouldn't have. It said something about Amazon clothes. And so I was looking at it and then like I noticed that her terrible extensions were I know exactly which Amazon one that came from because I had those same freaking extensions, not in blonde. I just thought it was hilarious. But then I really noticed, like, if you screenshotted any of the things and then you go search it on Google, like any of the clothes, outfits, whatever, on Google, and then it'll literally bring you to an Amazon freaking thing. But anyways, she went undercover, and then like I don't know, her best boyfriend, her guy of the hour that she's not in a relationship with, ends up they end up saying that they're going to pretend to be together or whatever, and then everyone assumes this guy is just some random dude she found on the side of the street that is going to act like who he is. So they're like, this is Brad Pitt. And then everyone was like, no, that's not Brad Pitt. And then Brad Pitt's like, I am, in fact, Brad Pitt. And he looked like Brad Pitt, sound like Brad Pitt. But they're like, that is not Brad Pitt. Until a whole bunch of unfortunate events happens to them. And then they are eventually proven that they are idiots. And that this is Brad Pitt.
All hail Brad Pitt.
That's the best example I could give because honestly, I don't know what this guy looked like. Speaking of guys that looked weird, that's the next story we're going into. Any questions about the weird one with the maid?
Did you buy any of the Amazon products?
No, but I did since this was my first one I ever watched, I did download the app and paid for the stuff. I never did that again, but it did cost me $30.
What? $30?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Now, speaking of the weird ones, I'm the final boss. Filtered. Okay? This guy was the oldest looking filtered that they put the whitest powder makeup on his freaking face. They drew his eyebrows on. His hair was like if you took a paper in his face and them together, you would get Prince Eric.
Oh wow, from The Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
The cartoon version?
Yeah. Like they really was trying, okay? So anyways, it starts off with this guy coming back from the military and he's like, I'm going to propose. I'm going to let my girlfriend of these many years know I'm the richest man in the world. I'm the one that's been supporting her behind the scenes all these years to make sure her dreams happen. And then while he's standing there waiting for her to arrive, another chick arrives and goes, you must be the man that I'm meant to marry. And he's like, you have the wrong person. And she's like, oh, no jokes, no jokes. And he's like, no, you have the wrong person. She calls up her persons, be like, this dude said that this is not him. And then they were like, wait, what happened to our stocks? They're crashing. That's crazy. Sell immediately. He goes, don't do that. I'm going to save you millions of dollars. Don't do that. You can be a little patient. She's like, who are you? And he's like, don't ask those questions. Bye. And then she goes, sell them all. And then I'm sitting there like, you dumb. And then she goes, actually, hold them. We can be a little patient. And I'm like, oh, this is a smart girly. I like her, okay? Next scene is the guy and his girlfriend has finally arrived. And he's like about to propose. And then she's like, boy, stop. You're not worth my time. You's poor. You's lame. I don't know. You're boring. I am breaking up with you.
Rough crowd.
And he's like, what is wrong with you? And she's like, you're ugly. You stink. I never liked you. Your favorite color's dumb. I don't know. She says some very...
favorite color's dumb. What a beautiful insult, actually.
I don't remember what she said,
what's your
really.
favorite color? Red. That's dumb. You're dumb for liking that.
But that's what she said. So... No, that's not what she said. I lie. But that's about what she said. And then he was like, is that how you really feel? I lie. He said it with a straight face. Like, he's thinking to himself, filtered. This filtered really, really is dumb. About to lose her whole life. Okay. She's like, you're ugly. You smell funny. I don't like the way you trim your armpit hairs.
What? Is this real?
No, I don't remember what she said, but it's the equivalent of that. I promise you. I assure you, if you want to go watch the first few minutes.
These are some wild insults that are coming up. I just want to let you know. Like, imagine getting in a relationship with somebody. Oh, man, you're awesome. And then the one day that you take a shower and you notice.
She goes, my sugar daddy is going to take your place. He's been supporting me all these years. I don't need a smelly man like you who doesn't know how to trim his armpit hairs. No, I'm so rich. I'm going to be the most important. I'm going to be married to the richest man in the world and all these other cool things. And he's like, that's me. But you're breaking up with me. And he's like, oh, yeah? And she's like, yeah. And her mom is sitting right there. And she looked like the most villainous of villains I've ever seen. She looked like a mom villain. She do look like a mom villain. And she was sitting on the side and she just started coming in there and all I heard was yap, 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 yap. Every time she opened her mouth because she just looked like that. You know Yzma from...
Yep. From Emperor's New Groove. Yeah.
Yes. Take her, but make her human with a little bit more on her face and not as skinny. And a green dress like, what's his name's mom from iCarly.
These are some good imageries.
Great. Fantastic. That's what she looked like. And all I heard was yap, yap, yap. Because everything she said was she's like, my daughter doesn't need you. She's got the richest, most powerfulest man on her side. So she just says the same thing her daughter says. She's like a hype man in the background. She's just yap.
Isn't that what all mothers are?
Anyways. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But they leave. And he's like, what the... I forget what else actually happens after that. But then they go arrive at the event. The other chick, she come up and she go, sound like you single now. So, you can get with me. And he's like, you know what? Who are you? And she's like, I'm Sinclair. And he's like, the Sinclair? And she's like, yeah, that one. And he's like, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. I think I'm gonna marry you.
Sinclair? That's crazy. I know that guy. He owes me $50.
Oh my god. So I don't know, they get married. And then she don't know who he is, but she do try to do a background on him, and then they come up empty. They're like, oh, security clearance says that we can't know nothing about him. She's like, that's crazy. He must be important. Anyways, I don't know who this man is, but I just married him. And then they continue on their ways, all right? He ain't tell her nothing. So they get into this her party, apparently, she's throwing to sign with this billionaire who is the dude I'm talking about, Prince Eric, okay? And, oh man, I should have described what the little girlfriend looked like. I have a picture. We'll put it on the screen. Oh, man. Okay, well, she kind of looked like Ursula when Ursula was in her human form, except smash whatever beauty standards we have nowadays, put them together, stick her in an Amazon dress that looks like a blue box. Make sure you cut it real short so that her booty cheeks is almost out, and then put the most gaudiest socks on her. And her mom is wearing a green box dress as well. So that's like, this is what you get. She was not bad looking. But she did that whole, you can't really be doing this to me thing. And I was like, geez, you're really following that trope. Good job. Clap, clap, clap.
She's trying to make that money.
Yeah. Let me think. Jeez. Okay, so they go into the party. The little girlfriend ex-girlfriend is standing right there, acting like I'm so cool. Oh, by the way, my bad, I forgot. She's like, she's the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner.
Okay.
And she's like a
win?
top scientist in the world or whatever.
Okay.
Anywho. And so everybody's like glazing her, and it's the cringiest boy band I've ever seen, and her mom is just standing right next to her, like Ghibli's mom. Not Ghibli's. What's his name's mom? Not Ghibli's mom. What is the boy's name on iCarly? That like fawns over what's her name the whole time?
Don't ask me. I didn't watch that one.
Whammer. Okay, so and then he walks in, and they're like, "The trash! You look like trash!" And he's like, "This is a designer suit," and they're like, "Trash in a designer suit. Whose suit did you steal?" And I'm like, "Geez, guys." He's like, "I got in here."
That's how you start that, yeah.
He's like, "I got in here legitimately," and they're like, "No, freak away, you're a stalker," or whatever. And then, they all bully him and threaten to beat him up and throw him out or whatever. And then, his wife shows up and she's like, "What is going on here?" She comes in there all Game of Thrones like. She come walk all cross-eyed like she the best, biggest filtered of them all, okay? And they're all like, "Oh, this man, all these terrible things," and she's like, "You really all saying that?" And then he goes, "I think she likes it." And then they're like, "Oh, how rude! Apologize." And then she's like, "Why would I ask my husband to apologize for something I do like?" And I was like, "Jeez, cringe." And then some other stuff happens. Her grandpa comes in. So wife's grandpa-in-law come in. He like, "How do you do this to our family?" Or whatever, because she cancels the contract with the scientist because he said so. Because her husband said so or whatever. I don't know. She's just following his lead. He's like, "I am the richest man in the world. I am that person you guys are scared of. I am not lying." And they are like, "You are lying." And she's like, "You don't need to pretend that bad."
They're like, "Sure thing, little bro."
Yeah, they're like, "Sure thing, little bro." And then so all that happens, and then he's like, "I'm gonna call what's his name?" Which is like the richest man in New York. Or some stuff. That's like what they call him. And so he's like, "That's my assistant. I'm going to call him." And he calls his assistant. And he's like, "Assistant, arrive in 10 minutes. Bring this and cancel all of this. Beep." And we get to see the other side of that. And it is just as cringy as it sounded for you as it was for that man. He's like, "What? What do you mean? What's going on, huh?"
The only genuine acting right there is that guy.
Yeah. He was very confused. Anyways, he had sent his son previously to go bring the gifts to the ex-girlfriend because nobody else was in the loop other than the wife who wasn't really in the loop. You following?
Nope. But keep going.
Okay. And so the son walks in and he's like, "Hey, youngest scientist ever, here are the gifts from your future husband, who is the richest man in the world." And what's his name goes, "Yeah, no, buddy, wrong, incorrect." And he's like, "Who are you? You don't know. Don't talk to me." And he said, "Geez, can't wait till your daddy gets here." He's like, "What do you know?" And then his daddy do get there. And when his daddy get there, his daddy end up like smacking filtered out of him. And he's like, "How could you say that to the richest man in the world?" And everybody's like, "There's just no way. There's just no way. I don't believe you. You hired the richest man in New York to pretend you're the richest man in the world. There's just no way." Anyway, so then he drags his son out by the ear and people leave. And then the next thing that they do is
Wait. How old is his son to be dragging out by the ear?
He's probably like in his 20s. Well, he don't look like he was in his 20s.
Oh, okay. All right.
The dad is like in his 50s. The guy who's leading everything, Prince Eric, is probably like I think he's in his 40s. But I think the story is claiming that he's in his like late 20s.
That's crazy to be drugged out of someplace by your ear at that age.
Well, you could do that when you're rich. So then everybody's like, okay, well, you could prove it if you, well, or we will find out if you're really the guy you say you are. If you arrive at this other limited edition party that no one else has an invite for, you know, especially trash like you. And then the wife's ex-fiance gets into the picture and he starts some madness. Bro is a character of his own. He's like a Saud, whatever, one of those princes from overseas, Saudi Arabia prince. Okay, it's what he pretends to out. He's probably what he is. So the rule is that they are supposed to. He's supposed to fight amongst his brothers. This is another side story to the story. Got to keep up. His dad was indebted to the richest man in the world, who is Kingsley. I'm about to use their names. Okay, Kingsley is the richest man. He saved the king. The king was like, you shall choose my successor. So the prince of said king shows up, who is apparently Kingsley's wife's ex-fiance. The reason she married Kingsley was so she didn't have to marry this guy, which every time he walks into a room with her, he does in fact go, ooh, like that whole, ooh, mommy, you looking fine today. Can't wait to bring you to my bed. And she's like, gross. And so Kingsley was her best choice. So they all arrive at this party. All right. They all arrive at this party. A bronze ticket. There's like there's a certain amount of bronze tickets, okay? And then the wife gets one of those and then gives another one or whatever. And then the two that have it, the silver ones are the prince and that ex-girlfriend. And then the one that has the gold is obviously Kingsley. But nobody knows that because Kingsley's running around with a bronze invitation. And everybody's calling him trash, that he's mooching off of his wife. And then the prince goes, wifey, you should divorce this man and get with me so that, because, you know, you looking real good. I want to drag you to my bed.
Drag him.
And I'm like, that's so cringe, bro. Can you stop saying that same line? It's weird. Anyways, so then they try to be like, oh, we're so cool. We're going to go sit in the silver thrones. And they're like, because Kingsley, you're lame or whatever. And then Kingsley.
Wait, hold up. The thrones? What is this? Game of Thrones now?
Yes, actually, the guy who arranged this entire event thought that was the perfect thing to do because Kingsley's the king of kings. So they were like, the throne of thrones.
Gilgamesh? What the heck?
Listen, I'm not talking about their story like that. I'm just explaining it. Shush your face, okay? And then so Kingsley goes sits on, and they're like, oh, what? And then they realize that he wasn't lying all along. And then he stands up and he's like, all right, I'm tired of playing with you guys like the trash you are. Take him away. I'm done with him. And then you got her crying over here. And then the other guy's like, no, I could have been a king. And then he grabs onto Kingsley's leg and he's like, please. And then he lets go and just throws his hands down and then just looks down in sadness and goes, why? And then, like, the story ends. Oh, and he goes walk up to his wife, and she's like, what's this? I think they just, like, say, wow, you're really who you said you are. And he's like, yeah, you like that? She go, yeah. And then it ends.
And really? Just the abrupt ending?
Yeah, I think so. That one was hilarious for me. Yeah. It's the TikTok shorts with the, I don't even know how to explain. It's just brain rot, short dramas.
Bad acting and just quick dopamine hits, I believe.
Okay, and then I think after I'm the final boss, which you get it, the final boss, I ended up somehow getting absorbed into the C-drama versions. So the remaining stories I have were all from... A lot of them were terrible translations. Like, some of them are they got the genders wrong, and so I'd have to keep trying to, like, he'd be like, mother, I want to be with you, and I'm like, no, he's saying father. I want to be with you. I don't want to be with mother. I want to be with uncle. And I'm like, jeez, he means aunt. So that one was pretty big. Jeez, did they just go in different directions? No, okay. Well, no, they kind of go into different direction. I don't know how I did that. I think that because they wiggle from the owl. Okay, sorry, I was staring at myself. Right. That's because this is the most brain rot model I could get my hands on, to be honest. Okay. So what? Let's see. Oh gosh. Oh man. Well, the most recent one that I had gotten stuck on was No More Tears for Him. I watched part of it. That one seemed like it would be a good story, but the acting was pretty good. Now, however, the ones that are not so good was 3 years of waiting. The Empress's Return had like the worst side actors ever. There was actually one I think I watched from Facebook probably that had they gave birth to dragon eggs or whatever, and hers was black and her sister's was gold, and then they were like the gold one turned out to be the snake and the black one was the actual dragon, but everybody was like, we've never seen a real dragon egg. We've never seen one, guys. But I think the gold one isn't. So we're going to burn the black one. Oh. Like, dang, guys. It turned out more than one person was reincarnated in this one. It was not just the main character, but it was her husband that had murdered her in her previous life. And then he was like, "Aw, so like I made the wrong choice both times." The Beggar King's Bride was interesting. This is the one I could tell, like the final boss one, which is it starts with two sisters fighting for the throne. Meow. It's a fantastic model, guys. I'm telling you. This is the one I spent the most on. So that one starts with the queen being overthrown in the very beginning, and then she's like, "Sister, why would you stab me in the back?" And she's like, "'Cause you took the life I wanted." And they reincarnate to the day they got to choose their husbands, which is the day that she gets to choose the life she wants. So she chooses her sister's life. And then she goes, her sister's like, "Damn, too bad she don't know he's abusive. Behind closed doors, it wasn't as pretty as it looked. Have fun with the abusive man. Like these eyes." So then the other one, she actually was going to just randomly throw it down there in hopes that the future wouldn't follow the same. But then there's a dude who's apparently walking down the street he's like pretending to be a beggar. Why do I know this? Because the guy that's walking with him says, "Your Highness, why are you pretending to be a beggar?" Okay, and so he's like, "Shush your face, you don't know nothing." And then he apparently ends up in the crowd because, I don't know, he thought it would be fun. And then he catches the ball. And then she's like, "Oh no, it's repeating again." What you gotta say?
Nothing. I thought I had something to say, but I'm trying to follow along.
Okay, well, if I'm not helping you, let me know. Do you understand where we're at right now with this story?
We're catching balls.
We're catching balls, yes. Okay, so the Sister A, who is main character, Sister B is side character, but main antagonist. The king is the beggar, or he's a prince. He's a crown prince. Okay, but he does get crowned king at the end of it, which is, so we're gonna call him the king for now. Okay, the king, it catches the dang ball of Sister A. Sister A was originally the queen in the last life or whatever, because her previous abusive husband, who is now going to be married to Sister B, the abusive husband overthrew things. So like, cause he's a bad guy. So in the previous life, the Sister B had thrown the ball down, and when she threw the ball, the king had caught it last time. But she thought he was a beggar, so she was like, "I'm not going to marry him." And so she decided to live on the side of the streets instead. And then she was real upset with her sister for having become the queen, so she stabbed her.
Don't want to do something, become homeless.
These two have reincarnated, and they know that each other has reincarnated. To this day. This is one very day, okay? So, anyways, so the lady, Sister A, goes with the beggar king, who is now purchased a run-down house and everything so he could play up the part. His mom finds out. She goes, "If she finds out who you are, then I'm going to be opposed to this marriage." And he's like, "Oh, no." She's like, "We're going to make it a game." All right. And she's doing this because she wants to get to know the girl. All right, whatever. Well, she ends up like super liking this beggar life, and she's like, I like this homely home, and just super happy. Okay, and he gives her his jade pendant, which actually is only for the king. So she gets framed later for having it.
Oh, I thought it was the homeless pendant.
No. Now, so she gives it to him. I mean, he gives it to her, but then whenever he leaves, because he's got to go to work, because, you know, he don't actually live as a beggar. So sister B is still not happy. Her sister's making the most of it. So she convinces abusive husband to help her plot. So they kidnap sister A, and start beating her up and abusing her and make her like walk over hot coals and all these things in order to get this jade pendant back. And she's like, I must, because it's for my husband. He gave me his only memento. Okay, so she does it all or whatever, and then gets it back. And then King arrives, and now he's pretending to be a security guard. Okay. This king has a lot of time on his hands, and his favorite thing is to pretend to be everything but what he is. And so...
Relatable, actually. Hold up. Relatable. Pretty relatable.
So then the queen walks in, and she's like, you know, catches on and sends him away. And then she's like, I'm going to take the girl now or whatever. And then this is when her little stuff starts. And then she's like, you're going to be one of my maids. And then she works as a maid, gets beat up by the maids. The queen arrives, and then she finds out, and then she helps her figure out this secret plot that everybody's plotting against her. And then the king randomly comes in as a security person. And then when everybody is super happy and everything is going well, they slip up. The girl is seen kissing the king, and then they're like, you are dating another man. Because I guess, I don't know, because he's a security guard instead of a beggar now. Anywho. They try to frame them or something, and then what's his name finally reveals, I am the king.
Shocker.
Yeah, and they were like, wow. And the only person who was surprised was Sister A, his wife. How?
Okay.
How? She's the only one who didn't know at the end of all this. Everyone else kind of figured it out along the way, not her. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I should have told you, but I couldn't. My mother, and she's like, it's okay. I understand. I liked you for whoever you were. And then it ends.
Oh. These brain rot things are just, they end so suddenly.
Well, the other one with the, where the Empress was waiting, she marries this guy because it was arranged marriage or whatever, because her sister didn't want to get married. He doesn't want to marry her and leaves her and goes to the border for 3 years because he wouldn't join the army because, like, he'd rather that than be with his wife.
She's rather just go and, like, possibly get murked on the battlefield instead of, you know, marital bond.
Well, he went because there was another girl he liked, so he was banging that on the border. All right, and she was sabotaging their marriage. Because the wife was sending letters to him, but the mistress was taking them. He thought she was like a hateful person or whatever. So she thought she had been abandoned and stuff. And some stuff had happened along the way. Apparently she's pregnant now. By who? The king!
Yeah, by who? What
the king! A warning. There is miscarriage in that one. But she do end up pregnant again, so there's a positive, I guess. That's literally how it ends. Is her having them explaining away the miscarriage that she gets pregnant again. Because I was holding hope all the way to the end that she never really miscarried. But she did.
And she did. Damn.
Yeah.
That sucked.
It was sad. I was very upset. But that's how. So when her husband came back and he saw she was pregnant, he tied her to a horse and dragged her around town.
Oh!
You remember that one now?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was pretty brutal, actually.
It was pretty brutal. And then that's whenever the king arrives, and then they don't tell anybody really anything. I don't know why. And then everybody comes to realize, and she brings them in and shows them that they're each other's true colors by putting him behind this bamboo fence, and then have the girl come in, and she's like, yeah, I sabotaged everything. Yeah, I don't like that man. You can keep the trash. I'm going to take your new husband. And then she's like, dang, you greedy, isn't you? And then the other girl like, of course, because I'm better than you. And then she said some other hateful things. And then the queen goes, so just to be clear, you don't really like him. and that you've never really liked him. And she says, of course, I wouldn't have wanted anything to do with him if it wasn't for the fact that he had gotten whatever. But now that he's not, I feel like I've wasted so much time. And then that's what's her name goes, ha ha ha, let him come around from the bamboo. And then he sees, and then she puts them both down on their knees, and they're both trying to like throw each other and thing. His mama come in. His mama, who's been taking care of the wife this whole time, comes in and says,
Did she take her sandal off?
No, but she had a thing that could pardon somebody, so that they would not face even death. And he starts begging his mom to use it and stuff, and then she's like, I'm not using that. I'm saving that for another time. And then she apologized to the queen about like whatever, and then the queen was like, yeah, it's okay. You're a great person. Your son, however, is still trash. So they get exiled afterwards, but they narrated it as if they were gonna die, but they didn't, which is a little disappointing. So they do come back, except the girl ends up, terrible things happen to her, and then the other one, the husband, comes back at some point at the end. He's got like these scars on his face that look super dope, but he asks for forgiveness one more time and for help, and she says no. And then he accepts it and then thanks her for having even given him her time. And I was like, damn, he was reformed. I love it. But I hope he suffered some more after that. He did look kind of cool though afterwards. I won't lie. I would have had a heart. He looked cool enough to the point that I think I would have been swayed a little to give that person another chance.
But not as cool as Donut Girl, right?
By the way, at the end of that one, she purposely disfigured her sister, who disfigured her face.
Nice.
And then gave her away to a whorehouse.
Oh, well, I mean.
Actually, I don't know about that one.
Oh.
That it was speculated, but not 100% true. Because I think she also might have just gotten killed afterwards.
You want to just make it a canon? You know, we just make it.
Let me know. I don't want to give it a canon.
Yumi's a canon.
No. Okay, and I think that was all of them though that I can think of. I get these stupid little shorts. I don't know. For some reason, I like to give things the benefit of the doubt, and that's how it gets me every time. Ugh.
Yeah, because you see like a small snippet of it, and you're like, "This is dumb," but I can't turn away. It's like a very bad car accident, right?
It's brain rot. Okay, so I wanted to look at memes. Okay, see? Let's go. Okay, click. This is from I'm the final boss. This is the girlfriend, and this is the mom. Click. This is the AI version one. This is the main character's only friend growing up, and he's a servant. Click. This is the one with the two sisters who were reincarnated, and this is the dead. Click.
This guy kind of looks like the Chinese version of what's his name from Holes? The guy why can't I remember?
And then this one was the one I was trying to find. This is the No More Tears, which is sad. When you know they're lying to you, but you can't say because of how you found out. Speed dating. I die. What do you do? Gather the Dragon Balls. We're done. She's the one. I give it a 3. Oh, funny. Yeah. Apple. We have waterproof phones. Samsung. Bet. That's great. I like it. Yeah, he's dressed just like the character.
Have you ever done a pachinko machine?
Yes,
yeah?
I did at MechaCon. Stop making everything into a filtered subscription service. If I have to buy the software, I should only have to pay for it once. What's the most boomer complaint you have?
I agree with that. Everything is a live service subscription. Like, if I pay for the game, I should be able to play the game forever. And even if I'm offline, I should be able to play it offline. So remember, kids, buy physical always.
Height died and came back a cowboy. Call that reincarnation. You want to say it in an actual cowboy accent?
Died and came back a cowboy. call that reincarnation.
I like this one. I give it a 4. My girlfriend pointed a firearm at me during an argument, and I can't stop thinking about it. When you run, and you will, don't forget to zigzag. My girlfriend shot me after I broke up with her. OP didn't zigzag. Owl alert. I am a barrel owl fledgling. Please do not move me. My mommy is going to come back and feed me. If I'm found on the ground, please gently place me back in the tree. I do not know how to fly yet and keep falling down. And he is adorable. If you're not already, you should subscribe. And I don't know, like the video. All loyal cult followers are supposed to listen. Anyways, if it was entertaining, you should hit the like button. If you want to see more, you should subscribe. And you can give me a comment. I don't know what you got to say. Let me know what kind of brain rot you like. And you should rate this model 1 to 5 stars, because I am going to give it a 2. And I'm not going to tell you why, but I give it a 5 somewhere else. Anywho, I appreciate Dizzy as always for helping, and he's going to edit this. Jane mata ashita. Later, filtered. Whatever. Later. Losers!